What's up, everyone? I'm Liz Hunt.
And I'm Chelsea Poppins.
And you are listening to the Agency Rocket Show, where we talk about the chaos of owning a creative business. Holla. Okay. No. Okay. No, nobody was there. Nobody was there for that. Usually we do like a little cheers or something. Yeah.
Crickets.
Yeehaw. Just waiting for that to happen. Okay. So clearly it's early for everybody, but we are going to continue on our social media, leveraging it for small businesses and having that conversation with our marketing coordinator, Keaton Haynes. Welcome back, Keaton.
Thank you.
Yeah. So one of the things that we wanted to start this conversation with is you were doing some research recently and you've kind of discovered a new trend for like what large brands are doing on their social media. Do you want to share kind of what you've learned and what you've been seeing?
Yeah, so we've discussed this internally a little bit over the past few months. Talking a little bit about like absurdity is kind of how we've described it. Brands putting themselves out there by being kind of weird and like off kilter.
Yeah.
So this has actually
unhinged.
been very unhinged. Yeah. You know, once again, shout out to Duolingo and Nutter Butter. We talked about that last episode just a little bit.
Yeah.
So social teams have been ditching brand consistency to kind of push creative boundaries in 2025. And
specifically on social media?
Specifically on social media, correct.
Okay.
So the idea is that these teams, they're testing out distinct voices and personality on their social media that's completely separate from the rest of their marketing material.
Interesting.
So, for example, if we're talking about Duolingo, it's a language learning app. If you go onto their Instagram, you're going to see that, like, yeah, they're a language learning app, but also the entire vibe is just completely unhinged. I mean, it's just everywhere. You know, you have like Roblox memes. They killed off their mascot very recently here, and it was like a whole thing.
Owl? Right?
Yeah, the owl, yes. Duo, I guess his name is. And they've recently revealed, I think, that it's been like a coup all along, and he was just trying to get out of work.
Oh my gosh.
The mascot, the owl.
There's like an entire story around
There's
this.
lore. Yes, there's lore, and they're creating lore as we speak. So once again, it's like, I've never used Duolingo in my life.
Yeah.
Maybe I should.
I love it.
Really?
There you go.
Oh, okay.
What were you learning, Chelsea?
I was just continuing the French that I know since I don't speak it on the daily. And then Ryan and I were learning Spanish. And,
nice.
And you can compete against each other. And it's way more interactive as far as like a gaming type of app. And that's where the fun stuff kind of plays in, because they're like, oh, beat your streak. I said out. Like, it's very gamer mode.
Interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good to know. I took Spanish for 8 years of my life, but it was all elementary, and so I can kind of understand when I'm listening to people, but for the most part, no. Maybe I should get on Duolingo.
Yeah, I love it. They speak to multiple ways of people learning languages. Nice. Yeah,
that's
like,
nice.
Cool. Whether it's like visual or like quickly gaming or like hearing, you could technically FaceTime the owl and speak with it.
What?
Yeah,
is that who that purple-haired girl is?
Or like, you can speak to like their fake emoji people on there. Yeah, and it's like it's kind of like it's mirroring a real type of conversation.
Yeah, that's so.
This is making a lot more sense now. I was like, I don't know who any of these characters are, but I'm invested in them.
Yeah, they have a lot of characters.
Yeah,
well, that's the thing is what you just said. You don't know who any of these characters are, but you're invested in them because of what they're doing on their social.
Exactly. Yeah, it speaks to that entertainment. So at this point in time, over 60% of social content is aiming to entertain, educate, or inform without any direct promotion.
Yeah.
You know, any direct promotion of products, any direct promotion of services. It's literally just, we are on social media for the sake of being on social media and driving brand awareness for us.
Yeah.
Even beyond that, like 80 to 100% of social content is entertainment driven for about a quarter of organizations. So it's literally just social apps are entertainment apps, and people don't like feeling like they're being sold to directly for the most part.
On social, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or probably anywhere, but yeah.
That's true.
So, one of the things that I've heard, gosh, this was years ago, I was watching a documentary, and the founders of Wieden & Kennedy, the very well-known advertising agency that does all the Nike stuff, one of the founders, I can't remember if it was Wieden or Kennedy, I don't remember which one it was, but one of the things he said was that advertising is here to entertain the world. And at the time, it was a long time ago. So at the time, social media was not as big as it is now. But now it's I see that. That has completely come about in the way that what you're talking about. Brands are using social media to entertain, and I think it's working. I think it's actually working.
No, I was going to say, I think that goes right in mind with is I instantly go to NIL and athletes and bringing creators on to those brands in order to create funny advertisements. You look at Caitlin Clark and State Farm Insurance and her popping up and shooting a three, or them finding Juju Watkins and punny catcher phrases to go with it. But they're using those audiences to build their platform and also to partner with their Instagram reach and the limelight that is on those faces. So it is entertaining, and that is it's interesting that you say that it's going towards, or it's already there. It's not going towards it, but that's the main focus for a lot of these brands, is to entertain and to stay in the minds of the audience and the consumer.
Yeah, for sure. The thing that comes to mind for me is people who watch the Super Bowl for the ads. Yeah. I mean, they're there for the ads because that's the entertaining part for them.
I do. I 100% watch the Super Bowl for the ads.
You don't watch for the players in the sport?
I mean, no.
I don't either. I
actually do enjoy a good football game every once in a while, but it's the ads that always drive me crazy during normal football games, because there's so many ads. It takes 10 years to get through one game. But then for the Super Bowl, the ads are actually really good and entertaining. And so then I'm like, okay, I can sit through this. So,
yeah. Yes. Also, I think the NFL is rigged because it's an entertainment agency, not a sports.
Once again, entertainment overall. Yeah. America is bread and circuses.
Yep.
Wait, can you explain that, please? Bread? Like a loaf of bread? Or
bread and circus. Okay, wait, let me pull it up here. Bread and circuses.
Yes, please.
Bread and circuses was a phrase from Roman poet Juvenal. Refers to the practice of appeasing the populace by offering them basic necessities, food, and entertainment spectacles to distract them from political issues and maintain social control.
Oh, well, yeah, that's
Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni.
Yes.
Yeah. If you're familiar with the Hunger Games, it's also Bread and Circuses is a direct inspiration for that entire series, which is why the name of the country is called Panem, which is basically bread, and then all of the entertainment of the games. So,
also, I don't think we fully dove into the topic of Keaton being our head copywriter. So, play on words and wordsmithing is Keaton's jam, and fun facts and knowing these type of things. So this is why we love you, Keaton.
I love you guys too. Yeah, I introduced myself last time and I was like, social media, and I didn't mention anything about the fact that I was copywriting before I was even on Facebook. So it's fine. I don't know how to introduce myself, turns out.
That's okay. Yeah, we'll workshop
there.
Yeah.
Gotta get better at storytelling. My story. Everybody else's is fine, but as soon as it's me, I'm like, oh, what?
What do I say? Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
So thinking about small businesses and how the major trend now is to use social media as entertainment, education, that kind of stuff. And it's really not for selling. What does that mean, I think, for social media in regards to small businesses, like with what they need to be thinking about going forward and such?
I think for social media, for small businesses in particular, because like we were talking about this earlier, Duolingo is a very big brand.
Right.
You know, Nutter Butter is a very big brand. A lot of people know what both of those things are. Any of these bigger brands that are going absurd and unhinged, they already have a very large amount of brand awareness. And so they have kind of more flexibility within their socials. I think, honestly, the safest way for a lot of small businesses to utilize social media is for education. I think for example, we work with a lot of like Valley irrigation dealers, for those listening. And for them, it could be as simple as like explaining how a center pivot works in like a short reel on Instagram. And that could be really interesting for people, because the amount of times that I've like stopped my scrolling to watch like a how it's made, just a clip, somebody just like ripped a how it's made clip and just put it on reels. I'm like, yeah, this is really cool. This is really interesting, because most people don't know what a center pivot is. I didn't until I started working here.
Yeah.
So, every small business has operations that are foreign to other people.
Yeah.
And I think that people get a kick out of seeing behind the scenes and learning about what you do at your business.
Yeah.
I do think it's a good mix. Like, we're not saying everybody should be unhinged out there.
Yeah.
And education is like a powerful tool. I go back to, because I was trying to get my family farm to start a YouTube channel on like breaking and fixing things, because there's people who their YouTube channel goes crazy because people want to know how to fix the things that they're doing. And it's a constant learning curve. And if you have farmers out there or whoever out there showing them how it's done, like, I'll look at YouTube in order to figure out how to, I don't know, be better at Excel spreadsheets or to do something easier. And like, I just think it's such a useful tool that people underestimate, because there's a whole YouTube or Instagram for a dad showing people how to do like dad things for kids who don't have dads. And his channel blew up because there's so many people out there who would love to have a father figure who would show them how to do simple things like changing your tire, changing your oil. Those type of things are so useful, even though they're like the simplest things of people trying to understand how to do and operate.
Yeah, for sure.
That's so true.
So what I meant to say is that you don't have to be unhinged.
You can be unhinged. You can.
Well, and the whole idea here is, I've heard people say, is like, we're day trading attention. And so there are lots of different ways to be entertained in the showing behind the scenes or doing crazy graphics and videos and stuff like the Duolingo people. But not everyone has the budget or and I mean this in the nicest way, but like, they don't have the creative sense to be able to create something like that, especially ongoing. Maybe you could do it once, but ongoing is the really difficult part. And so like for small businesses, I think it's like, okay, think about how in your sphere that you can create entertainment housed within what it is that you are actually doing. And I know a lot of small businesses want to err on the side of conservative when it comes to taking creative licenses for things. And I think that that's fine. Like, it's your business. You do, you do whatever you want, but it doesn't mean that you can't still be entertaining, even if you're a little more conservative with your entertainment.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
I think that goes back to the Valley dealers, because a lot of them are more conservative, or they're a little bit older and they don't have, like, we've managed some of their social platforms and they'll send us videos of them doing work in the fields. But like, there's creative ways too that they can still do it in a conservative sense, just showcasing their employees being goofy. Or like, we have a trucking company and they show us like their dogs that they take with them, and they send us funny clips and things. That's still attention grabbing and entertaining and personalized, kind of like a creative way of tapping into that social presence.
Yeah. I think one of the ways that we can, and what you're talking about, Chelsea, is you're telling stories and using social media to do it. And so it's up to you what that story really entails. So it's like the story of, for the trucking company, the story of a life with our drivers, and what our drivers' lives are like, what they do and how they manage their time spent in a truck for 12 hours a day or whatever it is. I don't know what they're supposed to do, but you know what I mean? But like, we're telling those stories, and that in and of itself is providing entertainment, It's just their own version of it.
Yeah, for sure. And I think also when it comes to finding your niche and finding that storytelling, once again, a lot of small business owners, they don't have the time or the attention. There's something to be said for just how fast trends are coming and going every single day, every single hour. Keeping your finger on the pulse of that is really difficult. It's very much like it is your attention,
all consuming.
It is, and it can be. And the fact of the matter is a lot of small business owners don't have that time. And so if they can find their niche and like throw a trending sound on there or something, so they're still like relevant, but they don't have to be following exact trends all the time.
Yeah. I do think I recommend having somebody younger. If you're older and you're not tapped into the social world and all the platforms and you're not going to keep up with that, have somebody young who's like constantly on there and they understand what's the trendy thing, but make sure that they understand your brand and the do's and the don'ts of your brand, like a way to talk to the consumer so that they're not mucking it up, or so that they're still following guidelines and interacting with your people in the proper way, but they also have those guide rails.
Yeah.
Right.
If you are a business owner who does not have your own Instagram, then maybe you should consider having someone do it on your behalf. Because if you don't even have your own Instagram just for like mild curiosity or because you want to stay updated, perhaps this is not the right hat for you to wear in this realm.
Maybe you should find an intern.
That's a great thing to delegate. Yeah.
This is when you get a Gen Z intern and you let them edit your marketing video. And we go right back to that trend from last year.
Yes.
Because even like Liz and I, like we're on social and we laugh at reels and we send each other reels all the time. But for us to spend the time to create it and to recreate something that's trendy, or to even just like wrap our minds around like, oh, that we should do this. Yeah. It's overwhelming, even for me. And I'm not even on it all the time like the youth. I get TikTok, but I don't.
I mean, it is a lot of work. And when you consider like reels and video recording and the time it takes to position people, I mean, we'll do recordings for Liz sometimes for her social media, and getting all that clip, getting all that video content. I mean, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of strategizing and coordination and just editing.
Editing and thinking things through. Yeah.
And then putting it into the social platform for scheduling.
And then thinking about your Instagram SEO, and you're thinking about your hashtags and what time of day to post it at.
Your cover graphic, making sure it fits in the proper
your
square.
Thumbnail. Yep. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about specific strategies on each platform. So, kind of the main ones being TikTok, Instagram, Facebook if we have to, and then I think maybe any others, like if we want to talk through Twitter or YouTube, anything like that. But I think maybe the big ones being like Instagram and TikTok with a sprinkling of Facebook.
Let's not mention X.
God. Yeah, see, I don't even call it that. Good Lord. Yes.
I still call it Twitter.
Yeah.
It's Twitter. It's the app formerly known as Twitter.
It's not going anywhere, Keaton.
Yeah. Good Lord.
It's dying.
No. I don't think Twitter's going anywhere.
Does Ryan use Twitter?
No. Ryan doesn't even have a Facebook.
I don't know. I just feel like he seems like a Twitter user.
No. Do you see his Instagram? I think the only posts he have are the posts that I collab. Like I create them and then I collab.
He approves them.
And
you're like a little symbiotic relationship on Instagram.
Yeah, I am his social media manager. And
oh my
if he creates a clip, he'll be like, "Look at what I created." And I'm like, "I'm so proud of you." And he's like, "Is this a good caption? Can I share it?"
Oh wow. Yeah.
My old man.
I work in social media and I still do that to Skylar. I'll be like, do you think this is a good caption? What do you think of my video? Like, how does it look for my Instagram? Because I don't post on it very much. So.
Yeah. You gotta be intentional.
I know. I'm like, I have to put my face out there in a very specific way or whatever.
Before me, Ryan's grid was just a selfie of him on his hiking trip once a year. And it was like the absolute cheesiest photo ever.
Just in case people needed to know I'm still alive. Here's my one time a year.
Him and his 200 followers, maybe 150. I don't know.
Oh, God.
It's okay, Ryan. Me too.
Yeah. It's
Sorry,
great.
you got derailed.
Great. No, that's good. Okay, so thinking about Facebook, since hopefully that'll be the shortest conversation, but we've seen over the last couple of years that Facebook has seriously declined in the amount of attention that people are paying and being on it. And so people have turned a lot of attention towards Instagram and then obviously TikTok too. We make jokes in the office that Facebook is only for people 45 and plus, So what are your thoughts for Facebook, and if it's good for small businesses to use still, if it's even a viable platform for them still? What are your thoughts on that?
The thing about Facebook is it's definitely not the king anymore, like you're saying, but the people who use it religiously. I mean, I got a Facebook when I was 11 and I still log into it just out of habit because it's where a lot of my family is. But yeah, I mean, the fact of the matter is that organic reach is declining on Facebook, and it is very hard for businesses to get engagement, especially if you don't already have a following. So I think analyzing your audience and your demographics is something to consider if it's even worth it. But I think another thing to consider is that Instagram and Facebook are directly intertwined. I mean, Meta owns them both. And so even if you don't have a social media platform management tool, like the Meta Business Suite is perfectly fine if you just wanted to use Instagram and Facebook, and you can just put all your focus on Instagram. And just like Chelsea is saying how she does with Ryan, just kind of let your posts go to Facebook.
Yeah.
And that way you have that Facebook presence. And if you start to see people are interacting, utilize that. Engage with them, maybe consider seeing what is performing well on Facebook, what is maybe getting more likes, more engagement, more comments, things like that.
Yeah.
And then tailoring based off of that if you want to kind of start to separate them a little bit, if there's reason to separate.
Yeah. So you're saying because Meta owns both, I'm just going to clarify this for our listeners, but because Meta owns both, there's a way for you to post through their Meta Business Suite. There's a way for the post to go on both platforms at the same time when you schedule it out through their Meta Business Suite. Okay.
Yeah, correct. And stories as well. So if you post an Instagram story, you can have it go straight to Facebook too. Like they are directly intertwined, and that automatically creates a 2-for-1 deal.
Yeah.
So, if you do have a younger audience, but you think that you kind of want to reach out to your Facebook crowd too, maybe you have kind of like a mixed audience. You think you have people on both. Go ahead and post on Instagram and just let it auto post to Facebook too. You might as well.
Yeah. 2 birds, 1 stone. You might as well.
Exactly.
And so I think we've talked about this before. Like if you're at minimum, you should at least have like a Facebook business page anyway. And so if you have the understanding of how to get your Meta connected for Instagram and Facebook, or have somebody else do it, you might as well be posting. But they also have a scheduler. I think we've talked about tools that are maybe we haven't, but there's a scheduler on there. So if you do want to get a little more involved or have someone on your team get more involved, like you can schedule through the Meta Business platform, and then that'll help you kind of plan out that strategy a little bit better. And it's free, that scheduler, so you don't have to pay for it like some of the other platforms out there, but it's a good kind of like entry level into managing your business from a social perspective.
Yeah, that's very true. That's great. So Facebook, basically we feel like you might as well.
You might as well.
That's
it's there. Most people like have one. Like younger people don't. I guess maybe younger people don't tend to have them, but like a lot of people have them. Millennials have them. Anybody over millennial age has them. Maybe a scattering of Gen Z might have them. Like I'm Gen Z and I have one. Older Gen Z probably does. Maybe not younger Gen Z.
But also coming from an SEO perspective, having another platform that's directing people to your website is good for your search engine optimization. And if you're doing Instagram anyway, like you said, might as well be doing Facebook, and that'll help everything from an overarching standpoint.
Like my gym doesn't currently have a website. They literally just send everybody to their Facebook page. And that just kind of acts as their landing page.
That really?
Yes.
Honestly, a lot of gym websites suck anyway.
Yeah, it's true.
I look at a lot of CrossFit websites out there and I'm like, I am getting no real information, and they're just telling me to fill out this form or do a free trial. And they have no real quality info on here that's going to help me anyway.
Well, that's because it's CrossFit.
But also most gyms don't actually turn a profit. It's very hard to be a gym and turn a profit, just like a restaurant.
True.
So spending money on a website is probably not their top priority.
No, the only reason that I started going was because they were on the drive to work every day to my previous job. And they were literally just in a parking lot on the side of the road on Giles, just in a warehouse. And I walked in one day and I was like, I might die here. But then it turned out that everyone was really nice. Yes. The largest man I've ever seen walks up to me. He's got a massive like white beard and he's like, how's it going? And I was like, should I be here?
That's like the equivalent of walking down a dark alley and just being like, this is my gym.
Yeah, it kind of felt like it.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh.
It was awesome. And now I've been going for 3 years and I love it. So
that's so funny.
But their marketing leaves a lot to be desired.
Yes, and that's the thing is like I am very surprised that all they have is a Facebook. Like I would have expected at least an Instagram.
I mean, sometimes mystery.
Oh, they do have an Instagram, but they post mostly to their Facebook. Also true, Chelsea.
Yeah.
Everyone loves a little hidden gem, just a little sus.
Hole in the wall.
Yeah, that's true.
If you want a risky business.
So let's talk about Instagram then. How can small businesses utilize Instagram? Should they be? What is kind of the story around that?
I think that Instagram is the king currently. Maybe next to TikTok,
I don't know. Well, I think because TikTok almost went away. And like everyone was like, oh no. But for a while there, I thought TikTok was king.
That was.
Yeah, I mean,
it was, yeah.
TikTok is big. TikTok is huge. But I think, and I say this because so Instagram is more popular amongst millennials.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of Gen Z on Instagram as well. Mm-hmm. But I think in terms of business, I feel like Instagram is up there personally. Yeah. I think Instagram is big for business because they have the better advertising capabilities.
Yeah.
The boosting capabilities.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
I don't know. I see a lot of business activity going on Instagram, and I follow a lot of business accounts on Instagram. Mm-hmm. And I think that if you're going to have an account on either Instagram or TikTok as a business currently, and especially if you can't commit to video creation like we were talking about earlier, I think Instagram is kind of the place to be. I think it's a good maybe entry-level TikTok, because I like to refer to TikTok as like social media hard mode for small businesses, because it's a lot of rapid-fire, short-form video content. And like, yes, image posts are available right now, but they're still not primary form of content on the app.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
isn't TikTok more for information and creators selling or promoting products and things? I don't know. I don't necessarily see as like entertaining and like fun factor, at least not in my algorithm. Mine's more informational and people like, oh, this product, and like endorsing those type of things in order to make money. As far as
there's a lot of influencers on both.
Yeah. I guess I see less of businesses, at least on TikTok, on my algorithm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could see that for sure.
Yeah, I think in the same way maybe that Facebook and Instagram are kind of intertwined, it honestly feels like TikTok and Instagram are indirectly intertwined, just because a lot of reels get cross-posted to both.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A lot of, if a creator has any knowledge of a scheduling platform, or even if they just post them separately, most of the time they're posting on TikTok and also Instagram.
Yeah. I do feel like they're more closely intertwined now that TikTok got relaunched, because I think they got launched onto the Facebook cloud. So all that data got merged. And so my Instagram kind of started filtering all these TikTok. Like my TikTok vibe was very different than my Instagram vibe up until that point. And as soon as it got relaunched, I get so much nonsense on my Instagram now. I was like, I never watched this type of stuff on my Instagram, but I watched it on TikTok. It made sense after I heard that the data servers were interconnected on that relaunch of TikTok.
Yeah.
That's
anyway,
crazy.
I got derailed, but I was like,
no, that's useful information to have. I did not know that.
Yeah.
So what about for like small businesses? How do they manage their Instagram well? What are some strategies that they can use to really promote their business? I suppose tactics maybe is more.
Yeah. So Instagram, video is king still. Mm-hmm. Short video is king. People love reels. So it's something to consider, but it's also not so video heavy as like TikTok is.
Yeah.
So I think just like we talked about in the last episode, it's just a matter of staying consistent. And I think that you have more freedom to be kind of playful on Instagram and TikTok versus maybe like a Facebook page. Gosh, I'm trying to think.
Well, because like Duolingo and the Nutter Butter stuff, going back to our earlier examples, these unhinged kind of storylines that they've created and brand personalities that they've created are primarily on Instagram, right?
Right. Yes.
So
that is true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's
so a lot of brands are utilizing it for a high level of entertainment.
Yeah, that is a good distinction, I think, is that Instagram and TikTok seem to be more entertainment focused than Facebook is.
Yeah.
Although, well, that's another thing though, because I've noticed that Instagram Reels pull directly into Facebook as well. Sometimes when you're scrolling through Facebook, it'll be like, comment on Instagram, because it's pulling directly from Instagram into Facebook.
Yeah.
So that just speaks to that link.
So moving on to TikTok, business owners who are thinking about, should I use TikTok? Should I not? One, how do they decide? How would a small business decide? Like, yes, I should be on TikTok, or no, I shouldn't. What are some of those factors that they need to be thinking through?
I think it's a matter of examining your target audience. Is TikTok the place for you? It's a significantly younger demographic. Are you trying to reach a large, diverse audience of younger people that might be interested in your product or your service?
Yeah.
At that point, it's probably worth putting in the effort, especially if you have somebody who can create those reels, or if you have somebody who can have that engagement. Because building some brand awareness amongst your target people, like TikTok is big on brand awareness. And it's like how Chelsea was saying, it's a lot of information. It's a lot of, informational content. And so you can throw your education on there for sure and build some brand awareness within TikTok. But it's also like, if you have a lot of older folks, 45 and up, like we were talking about, they are on TikTok, but they're not in TikTok in droves the way that the younger generation is.
Right.
I do think it's also important to note, like you said, the segmentation of your audience. Like, I don't know about how many small businesses, but as far as like Duolingo and some of those larger businesses, I think TikTok is that recruitment, because you're like, you want to get in the minds of the younger generation so that they will want to work for you in the future. And I do think that from the recruitment and that type of perspective, like, it's smart, because you constantly want to be funneling people into your organization, but you also want to be nourishing and engaging and adding value to your customers and older generations. So like, from that perspective, it's nice to tap into all those platforms, because you get that full cycle display for your businesses. But as far as like a small business in a local community, like, I don't know if it's necessarily as valuable to be on TikTok, because somebody might already know about you if you're mostly local. So I don't know. Any thoughts on that? From the small business perspective, who might not necessarily be recruiting?
Yeah, I totally agree with what you guys are saying. I think TikTok is probably the most difficult platform to use for businesses, simply because it basically requires you to be a storyteller, video editor, and social media strategist all in one platform. And for some people, that comes very naturally, comes very easy. And then for others, for some businesses, it's just like, this just does not make sense for us to go through all this effort to have a one post on social. And so I think maybe, to your point, Keaton, yes, it's target audience, and then just kind of your ROI on it. Like, are you getting back how much you are investing as far as time or personnel, resources. And then just, of course, what's your capacity? So I think that one is really more about small businesses have to think through, is this going to produce the ROI that I'm looking for?
If you have an intern that you're paying minimum wage, sure, have them do it all. You might as well. Put them to use. Let them learn.
Yeah.
It'll fill their hours. I mean, social media is way more time consuming than people think it is. I've heard people be like, you're scrolling on Instagram all day. That's just your job. And it's like, absolutely not.
Actually, yes.
Like, it kind of is, but it's also not.
Yeah, there's a lot more to it. And I think what really trips people up, to your point, Keaton, is, of course, anybody can make a post. But can you make 3 posts a week for 12 months at a time? Like, the consistency and being able to do it ongoing, I think, is what really hinders a lot of, especially small businesses, because a lot of people will do it for a month and they'll be so great at it, and then they'll drop off for 6 months because they get distracted or priority takes over.
And it can be mentally exhausting. And to like that point, I think one of my best tips for people that are trying to stay consistent is just to look at what other people are doing. Take inspiration from that. See some of their graphics, some of their video concepts, and just do your own spin on it. Because all social media is right now is just people playing off of one another's ideas.
Yeah.
You know, that's what creates trends. That's what a trend is, you know?
Yeah.
And so there's nothing wrong with seeing what other people are doing and doing your own version of it.
Yeah. You don't have to recreate the wheel.
Nope. And it can get the creative going, and that can spark more ideas. You don't always have to be completely original.
Yeah. Okay, Keaton. So closing out our episode, what would you say is maybe the top 2 or 3 things that small business owners need to be thinking about when leveraging social media? One could be, you don't have to be on all platforms.
Yeah, you don't have to be on all platforms. Consistency is king.
Yeah.
And storytelling, like we covered today.
The entertaining piece.
Yeah. Creating something of value to your customers, whether that's education, whether that's entertainment, whether that's offering exclusive deals or whatever. Offering something of value to make them want to continue to engage with you.
Yeah. And I think if people can stick with those 3 things, even that I think is helpful. And just kind of sticking to those 3 things, I think you're absolutely right. Like, that's how you can win at social media without it burning you out or you stop for 6 months at a time.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, we know it's very intimidating, but it doesn't have to be. Baby steps.
Yeah. And otherwise, call us because we'll help you.
Yeah,
we'll show you how to not get canceled.
Yeah. Yes. Call us at DayCloud and we will help you. There's always people who can help. So thanks for joining us today, Keaton. It was great to have you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's always a good time.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I think that brings us to the end of this episode. If you like this podcast, like, share, follow. If you like this episode, please share with a friend. And if you need anything, we're here. If you want some branding or web development or social advice, please hit us up.
Yeah. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.